everybody, we're here with Troy Buff. He's going to tell a story about the first time he drove his dad's dragster.
I'm not sure where to start, but there's a lot to the story. I had been racing motocross, hurt myself really bad numerous times. This time I was in the hospital. My dad told me I could get my license in his car if I sold everything. I sold everything the next day. Actually, after I recovered and everything, I finally proved myself enough to my dad that, well, he believed I could do it, because my dad always believed that a driver that knows how to work on the car is a better driver, because he knows what's going on behind him in a dragster, rear engine car, or in front of him, whatever. Anyway, getting to the story, my dad had talked to a police officer, friend of his, and he said they built a brand new highway. It's like a farm market road around Bay City, Texas, out on the outskirts. And he said you could go out there and nobody's going to give you any trouble. He patrolled that area. If he came by, he would just watch. So we go out there and we unload this actually Pro Comp car, top alcohol dragster, which is not just any car. This was the division champ car, and I put all my dad's fire suit on, a helmet, everything. Everything is a little too big for me, but anyway, I get in the car, and I never forget, we fired it. I believe we fired it. It was been a long time ago. We fired it up. My dad had gave me instructions. He said, take off, feel the steering, go back and forth, stay in the center of the road. When you put it in second gear, and when you feel cocky, step on it. Well, we fired up, he takes the starter off and everything, and all of a sudden I see a car coming. So I have to sit and wait. And this station wagon full of Hispanics, I should say, hanging out of every window, slowed way down to see what's going on, because there's an alcohol dragster in the middle of the highway running, and my dad's telling them to go, go, go. Anyway, they go by, and I let the clutch out to get a feel of the clutch, and drove the car back and forth, put it in second gear, and the thing would run like probably 60 miles an hour in second gear idling. Well, my dad had said, if you get it in second gear, when you feel cocky, step on it. Didn't take me long to feel cocky, because right after I put it in second gear, I'd already felt what it felt like in low. So I stepped on it. Oh, important part of the story. There was a sign down the road, and he said, if you get to that sign, make sure you shut it off, because that's far enough. And it was probably, who knows, 1,000 feet or so. Or actually, anyway, it's not important. But I remember I got in second gear in the middle of the road, and I said, this is it. I got my chance, and I stood on it. Well, it started going, I'll never forget, it was like a double or divided white lines. The white lines turned into one, and they were going back and forth across the front of the car. And it was going, I got to going faster than I really wanted to go, and I decided, okay, that's it. That's as fast as I want to go. I'm going to step off now, because I've had enough. And I stepped off, and when I did, the thing actually started accelerating harder, pulling harder, going faster, and I'm thinking, oh my God, the throttle's hung. So I thought quick, and I did everything I had to do. I shut the fuel off, actually pulled a parachute, and got it stopped. It was on the side of the road. I'll never forget, my friend Joey McGirt and my dad came down in the truck. It seemed like it took them forever, and I'm walking in circles, and I'm opening and closing the injector, and it's not stuck. And I'm so confused. My dad gets there, and he said, what's wrong? And I said, well, I stepped on it. I got going as fast as I wanted to go, and I stepped off, and it started going faster, Dad. It just took off. I said, the throttle was hung. And he felt it, and then he sat down on the ground and started laughing. My dad's sitting there. Here I am, scared to death. My heart's still pounding. My dad's sitting on the ground laughing so hard he's crying. And I'm thinking, dude, I just about died here. What's so funny? And he's finally, through his laughter and tears, he came out with, the throttle wasn't hung. When you stepped on it, it started smoking the tires. And it was going skating back and forth. And when you lifted, it hooked up. And I really had to question my sanity at that point, because that was the first taste of actual, true speed in a car that was breathtaking. Well, it was downright frightening. I mean, it scared me. It honestly did.
Now, the next time you drove the car was at Houston Raceway Park, or no, it was at the old track, wasn't it?
Yeah, the old Houston track that was on 45, I believe.
45 South.
Yeah, I went there, and my dad had, well, we knew that Frank Hawley and Billy Meyer were coming in to do a match race.
Raymond Beadle.
I'm sorry, Raymond Beadle. Oh my God. Well, both awesome drivers. Raymond Beadle and Billy Meyer were coming in to do a match race because Raymond Beadle was the NHRA World Champion that year, and Billy Meyer was the IHRA World Champion. So it was the two world champs racing each other. And my dad said, you know, it'd be a good time to go out and get your license if you can do it. And when I got there, I went straight to those guys. I said, is there any way, you know, sir, is there any way you would watch me make my runs and sign my license? Because I thought it would be such an honor to have both of those guys on their signature on my license. Now, the first time I drove the car at the racetrack, it was a whole nother story because I had to rev the engine up, unclutch it, and leave in low gear. And my dad told me to leave, put it in second, and you should be close to around half track, shut it off, or not even half track, but according to the rules of getting your license. The difference was it didn't spin the tires. It set me in, I mean, it put me in the trunk, and it left, and I don't know how far I went too far probably. I didn't over rev it, but I knew that as soon as I left, I realized the engine's way up, I'm too far down, and I forgot where second gear was. And I knew everything about this car. I plumbed it. I knew where all the lines went, everything. But in the heat of the moment right then, I could not remember. I couldn't tell you where second gear was. So I stepped off, and it went 903 at, I forgot, like 150 miles an hour or something, which was quickest and fastest run I've ever made in my life. Because the fastest thing I ever drove before that was a 78 Chevrolet pickup. I mean, that was the first car I've ever been in on a racetrack. It was, to say it was impressive is an understatement. It was pretty awesome. Ended up making the license runs. I remember, and I ended up running, I want to say I ran 200, because that was like my life goal, to run 200. On my last final run of full pass, went 200 miles an hour, right at 200. And the part I tell a lot of kids in this story when I talk to them about different things about driving is, I went to Billy Meyer, and he said, I watched every run, kid, you did a good job, and he signed my license. Walked in his lounge, and he said, sit down. So he sat down, and I sat down, and he said, does that car scare you? And God, it did. I mean, honestly, it scared me. And I wanted to lie so bad. I wanted to say, oh no, it doesn't scare me. But I decided, you know, the truth is always better. And I said, yes, sir, it does. It is, right now I'm very scared of it. I'm hoping with more runs, I'll get used to it, maybe that'll go away. And he said, you said the right thing. If you'd have told me it don't scare you, I would never sign your license. He said, because when you lose fear of that car, it's gonna hurt you. It's not just gonna hurt you, it's gonna kill you. And I've never forgotten that. You have to have a little fear no matter what you're driving. When you lose respect for it, it's gonna hurt you.